Today we're going to take a look at how a player was banned from PDC darts for 8 years due to match fixing in an online event, and how there's a shocking rumour about why he decided to do it despite the obvious risk. Kyle McKinstry is a Northern Irish player nicknamed the Village Man who began playing in WDF and BDO events regularly in 2016, a year in which he was a finalist in both the Belgian and Northern Ireland Opens. A year later, he won the Hull Masters and Northern Ireland Open. Those wins helped him to qualify for Lakeside for the first time, where he went 2-0 down to Richard Veenstra before forcing a deciding set, which he went on to lose. In the following year, he managed to win the England Open, helping him to qualify for Lakeside again, where he picked up deciding set wins over Chris Landman and David Cameron to reach the quarterfinals, where he lost to eventual champion Glenn Doran. He then attended PDCQ school for the first time, where, across the 4 days, he only won 4 games, which was nowhere near enough to get a card. However, he continued to play in the PDC on the Challenge Tour for the rest of the year, where he reached 2 finals, winning his first PDC title in the penultimate event of the year. He then went back to Q School, where he won 6 games across the 4 days, again not enough for a card. But it was at the start of that year that he made his PDC major debut in the UK Open, which he got a spot in through the Challenge Tour. In Minehead, he began with a televised 6-1 win over Fallon Sherrick, which he followed up with wins over Jason Heaver, Stephen Burton, Bradley Brooks and Martin Schindler to reach the last 16, where, after a great run, he narrowly lost 10-8 to Dimitri Vandenberg. That event came just before the coronavirus lockdown, which is when McKinstry made a terrible error that got him banned from the sport. In April of 2020, it was announced that he was playing in a week-long online webcam event run by Modus called A Night at the Darts in the evening session. As a very early COVID online event, you could only see the players' boards and not them throwing. Gambling was still allowed on the event, which many rightly felt was open to the possibility of match fixing. Kyle ended the week with 10 wins from 20 games, finishing 3rd out of 6 players. He then didn't appear in any more of those events, and eventually it was revealed why. In August, the DRA released a shocking statement saying that they had been informed by the International Betting Integrity Association that there were suspicious betting patterns on a game Kyle played at the end of April against David Evans in the Modus event. It was also reported that there were further suspicious patterns on his game against Wessel Nyman played a few days earlier. An investigation was launched, and after Kyle failed to produce an itemised phone bill, he was suspended by the DRA for 2 counts of match fixing and failing to cooperate with the inquiry. It was confirmed that a formal hearing would take place at a later date. Let's go and take a look at what happened in one of those games, the one against group winner David Evans. In the first leg of the game, Kyle got a shot at 137 after 15 darts, hitting the treble 19, but he then missed a long way from the treble 20 if he was going that route, or inside the double top if he was going for that, allowing David to go 1-0 up. Kyle was on 172 after 15 in leg 2, at which point Evans hit double 12 to go 2-0 up. In leg 3, Kyle was on 138 after 15 when David hit double 10 to go 3-0 up. Kyle got a shot at 63 after 18 in leg 4, but shockingly bust it, hitting treble 20 with his final dart when he was left on tops. David then went 4-0 up, at which point Kyle's average fell below 70. In leg 5, Kyle was down to 90 after 15 when he hit the treble 20 to leave double 15, which he missed on the inside by an absolute mile. He was allowed to return, but then missed 3 at double 4, allowing David to take a 5-0 win in a game where Kyle averaged just 69.47. Following the announcement of the suspension, the PDPA released a statement saying that unlike Wessel Nyman, who was suspended at the same time and instantly pled guilty, Kyle had indicated his intent to appeal the decision. But then, just a week later, it was announced in another PDPA statement that Kyle had admitted to a charge of match fixing in the game against Evans, with the DRA investigation, which was described as serious, still ongoing. On the day of that admission, it was announced that Kyle had parted ways with his management company, MDA, by mutual consent. MDA stressed that they pride themselves on sporting integrity and that, as such, Carl's actions were completely unacceptable. Shortly after that all came out, Carl gave an interview in which he called the period the worst few months of his life, explaining how he had lost both his darts income and engineering job in a few weeks, leaving him desperate for money. He explained how, on the evening he had done the match fixing, it was the same day that he had lost his job, but said that he wouldn't go into any further details as he was too ashamed of what he had done. He said that he was only human and had made a mistake that left him in a really bad way and having to rebuild everything. A few weeks after that, the DRA announced that the hearing had taken place, and whilst Carl admitted fixing the game against Evans, he denied doing so against Nyman and also denied that he failed to cooperate with the investigation. However, he was found guilty of all three charges, with the statement saying that his sanction would be announced at a later date following a disciplinary committee meeting. A month later, it was announced that Carl had been banned from DRA sanction events for 6.5 years for fixing 2 matches and a further 18 months for failing to provide his itemised phone bill to the DRA. This meant he was banned from all DRA events for 8 years in total, a huge punishment, and far more than the 5 years, with 2.5 suspended, that Nyman was given, which was more lenient due to his willingness to cooperate. It came out in the announcement that Carl was charged with agreeing to lose 5-0 against Evans and hit no 180s against Nyman, with his intention to do both of these being passed on to others, allowing them to place winning bets. The informed bettors had placed 39 successful bets on the Evans game, winning over £18,000 from just under £4,000 staked. The bettors were found to have significant connections with Kyle, with several being Facebook friends with him and his partner, and all 8 of them living in 2 towns in Northern Ireland, one of which Kyle lives in. Bettors from one of those towns also placed hundreds of pounds on Kyle hitting under 1.5 180s in the Nyman game, and were the only users with one bookmaker to place bets on that market worldwide. Following the announcement of the ban, Kyle said that he'd been banned from the sport he loved due to a bad error that he made during a bad time in his life, and said that he would regret it for the rest of his life. He said that he was going to work hard and keep his head down and hopefully come back stronger. In a shocking twist a few days later, the Belfast Telegraph reported that their sources had told them that Carl had been coerced into fixing the matches in order to pay off a £10,000 debt to the Mid-Ulster UVF or risk having his arms broken. However, Carl denied these claims and reiterated that he did it due to the loss of his day job. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe, as currently under 17% of you are. Also, leave a like and turn on notifications so that you get notified whenever I upload a brand new video. And leave a comment letting me know if there's any other dart scandals that you want me to cover in a video.